Welcome back, everybody. My name is Dragagon, and this is Gregtech New Horizons. So, in the last video, I left off with my spaghetti tangle mess over there. First thing I thought I'd do is make a couple of P2P tunnels. That'll complete one of the quests. But the real reason I want to do that is because I'm starting to use more AE2. You can see the cable that runs up there. I've got an interface pulling all of the plant stuff out now instead of having it go through the Project Red setup. So that's the start of that. Nothing's changed here, but underneath I have started running some cables down below. I had a cable that ran up over here, and it was getting out the light fuel and running it back over and putting it in a storage bus, or a super tank over there. So I took all of this stuff out since I no longer need it, ran a cable line all the way over here, and I now have a storage bus sitting on my fuel tank, which is slowly building up fuel again. I then have it running over, and it actually, it drops it off into here with another storage bus, and that is where my oil berries are being stored, and you can hear it processing away. This is a fluid extractor that is then pumping straight up into my first oil distillery. I just finished getting some of the benzene and propene that I can use in here along with this phosphoric acid in order to output the phenol and acetone here. So I was just also grabbing the screwdriver so that I can make sure that right now that one outputs nothing, and I would like it so that I can do this. I guess I'll need to remove these two guys. There we go. One specific fluid. One specific fluid. There we go. So that's what I want for those guys. I already have my circuit 24 in here. So because I've got this and then all of my spaghetti pipe, this one brings over oxygen into here, which is the other thing that I need for this. So I can go ahead and drop these two guys in here like so and like so. And I probably need to right-click this guy. I don't think I've turned him on yet. So let's do that. Right-click. Hey, there we go. Processing enabled. 6 seconds, and then these two guys should fill up with stuff. Acetone and phenol. Excellent. Now, the reason I haven't immediately started pumping it over yet is because, of course, this thing wants me to have, the quest line, I should say, wants me to have the stuff for that. Now, I also need to make this memory card for using P2P buses. Red alloy plate, gold plates, titanium plates. Ew, it wants an EV circuit. I don't think I have any of those to spare right now, so that'll be something to add to my list of things I need to make, and sorry about that. It looks like using the oxygen has now gotten my oxygen stuff running. So, let's take a look back here in the EV goals. I need to get 4 acetone, and then I need 4 bisphenol A. So let's go ahead and grab those. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So there's that step complete. 4 hydrochloric, 4 phenol, 4 acetone, and it wants me to create bisphenol A. And the only problem with creating the bisphenol A is that I'm going to have to do it in a chemical reactor like this, simply because this guy is set up to do it differently. It is set up to do using mercury and just getting the epichlorohydrin and then creating that straight as taking the phenol and acetone and making it straight into epoxid. So the epichlorohydrin I can do. What do I need for that still? I think I need some mercury and some salt is what I need for that. mercury goes into this back hatch, and salt goes in here, and then it will produce the epichlorohydrin. So I should worry about doing that, but at the same time, I also want to get the stuff from over there, and we'll go ahead and mix up this phenol acetone, and I can grab 1, 2, 3, 4 hydrochloric acid. So there we go. 4 hydrochloric acid, 4 acetone, and then we get the 8 phenol in there, and it should be good for creating our bisphenol. So we are slowly but surely making our way towards that IV tab. Getting this epoxid is a pretty big thing because I will need it going forward for the more advanced circuits. All right, this out of the way, this out of the way. And here we go. And fluid auto output. There we go. And that water is always going to be full. There's another thing that needs water. I don't want that. Oh, that uses oxygen. Okay. All right, well, that's fine. I will dispose of that water appropriately somewhere else, but that gets us our bisphenol. There we go. And then from there, we are going to need to make the epichlorohydrin to make epoxid. And our first run of epoxid will probably just be a manual process, just so that we can then set up the fluid reactor over there. So anyway, I'm going to gather up the mercury. I'm going to bring you guys back in once I'm ready to lock the fluid inputs for the epichlorohydrin. Once we have the epichlorohydrin, then we will make that epoxid. So see you in a bit. All right. So I do just need the mercury. So I went ahead and I was extracting some shimmer leaf to get some regular mercury. And then for the mercury, I can extract it. And that will give me 1 thing of mercury. There we go. I'm going to put the rest of this mercury away. Now, interesting, a mercury quest. I need sodium hydroxide dust. I'm going to go ahead and grab half a stack of that. Apparently complete that quest as well, because I never had half a stack of sodium hydroxide. And we're going to put that in there. And then the first thing that's going to happen is, let's see here, that'll lock, and that'll lock. So all 3 of those will output the one fluid, and then this guy right here, I need to set to output nothing so that it doesn't accidentally get used when trying to figure out whether the salt water, the epichlorohydrin, and the hydrochloric acid will be coming out from there. So from here, I can take 10 of those. Well, let's just start with 1. We'll just take 1, put it in there. Oh, and I haven't hit that guy before. All right. Something here is not quite like the others. Let me take a look at my notes. Sorry. Epichlorohydrin needs mercury, water, chlorine. Oh, and propene. I forgot about the propene. It requires propene to work as well. So back over here. Now, this is still a very much a manual process for me. I just have to come up here. It is. Yeah, that's the right one. This guy right here. Oh, I've got enough. There we go. 1 propene cell. Now, that's probably not enough for what it wants me to make there. And the propene goes into this one. There we go. Turns on. We should see 3 outputs locked as soon as this finishes. There we go. So what do we have? Hydrochloric acid, that'll work. I like that one there because I can do this and get it straight into an input hatch. Salt water in there, fantastic. And then epichlorohydrin, and then I've got another input hatch. That was lucky. I don't know how random they are at picking which one they go to, but that was the one I was hoping would end up with salt water because I already had the input hatches above for the other 2. So, with that done, now it's time to see what happens here. The epichlorohydrin, all right. I need that to be outputting for a little while longer. That's an input bus. I actually can. Let's go ahead and do this. And we'll go ahead and do, I'll need 1, 2, 3 more of that. And I will have to wait until I get 3 more propene out of that, and then we'll run that through. And then those 4 will be the 4 epichlorohydrin here. And then from there I'll be able to see what it's trying to have me do for the epoxid. So anyway, I'm going to let this process run itself into the ground, get 3 more propene out of here, and I'll bring you guys back in once I have more propene. Alright, that didn't take too long. So I have my 3 other propene now. So let's go ahead and plug those in. And that should get me 4 of the epichlorohydrin. In the meantime, I am going to need, now to figure out where I put it. I think it's over here. Right here. This guy. I need that. I'm also going to need my hand pump. Let's go ahead and put that there. All right. Hand pump 2 and 4. And then let's grab out all 4 of that epichlorohydrin. There we go. And now what's it want us to do? It wants us to get 4 sodium, 4 epichlorohydrin, 4 bisphenol A, and convert that into 4 cans of molten epoxid. So we have all of that. Sodium hydroxide, bisphenol A, epichlorohydrin. There we go. And let's just do that right here. One of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. That wasn't what I meant to do. And then let's take those and 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of those interesting things where 4 cells of it are only the 144 each instead of actually 4 cells. So there we go. Oh, it wants one more thing after that. Turn it into epoxid sheets. Go figure. So let's go ahead and do this instead. Let's pick this guy back up. Plop him down there like that, and then we'll just take and hand pump that out. That way I don't have that clogging up what I'll be using for making explosives, the gelled toluene. And there we go. There is that. And this guy can come over here and make us some epoxid sheets. It's not set to export yet, so let's take this out, take this out, take this out, put that in, and then right click, and here we go. Dink dink. And we're going to be left with some left over, and that's alright. I'll just void it by taking it out, getting it into a tank of some kind, and then destroying the tank. This was simply so that we can complete this quest. The rest of my epoxid is going to be made over in that LCR over there. So, 27, a little bit left over. That's all right, though. Grab that out. Go ahead and get rid of this. And then I just need a spare tank. I could have grabbed that other tank that was over there. That's all right. We'll just use that. And huzzah, we have Epoxid now. I am definitely not complaining about having Epoxid. So, with Epoxid done, the next thing it wants us to do is to then make empty Epoxid boards by taking some gold foil and then some electrum foil with the Epoxid circuit board that you're going to make with that and turn it into one advanced circuit board. And of course that will go into making our new CPUs. In the meantime, I do have what's left of my stack of HV processors. You can see there's all the miscellaneous parts that I dug up from my distillery setup right there. But with these processors here, I can go ahead and make the necessary EV and IV chips so that I can work on getting these two guys, which is going to involve going through, you're going to hate this, number 5 and 6. Then I can move on to the circuit assembler. I also have the parts necessary to do the laser engraver. So those two guys, and then from there we can wrap up the rest of the circuit quest here. And so I will see you back here in a bit. Again, this is just a simple but long upgrade. I'm going to take these guys, throw them into the circuit assembler, and yeah, I'm going to follow actually this pattern right here, even including the soldering alloy, to get some workstations, and then I'm going to convert some of those workstations into these guys, some of the IV mainframes. And so once I have the mainframes, then I will be able to make these guys simply because they want these emitters, and the emitters want these EV chips, so that's not too bad, but then it wants 2 IV chips in order to break into the next tier. So, and then same thing with this guy, he wants 3 EV chips here, and then another 2 EV chips there, and that will get us into the advanced precision laser, and that precision laser will be what is probably required in order to make these nano CPU wafers and chips. So we'll see you back here in a bit once I've got these parts upgraded and we're ready to create those pair of machines. Well, I'm back, and I don't have the circuits made yet, primarily because of how long it takes blue alloy to be extruded in an MV extruder. I'm still waiting on quite a bit more. It does take quite a bit of time. So I figured in the meantime, what I could do is I could go ahead and get those 2 of these epoxid sheets done. Reason for that is that the epoxid sheet uses 2 sulfuric acid, or sorry, 500 milliliters of sulfuric acid along with 8 of the gold foil. And then when you take that and you combine it with the 8 electrum, it takes 500 milliliters of the iron 3 chloride. So I figured 1 can of each will get me 2 of each of those guys and will satisfy the requirements of the quest. So here we go. Those are in now. The next thing to do then is to bring it on over here. And I have to remember to hold on to it for long enough that it recognizes that it's done something. So let's start with the sulfuric acid. And of course it's raining outside again. Alright, there is our 1 epoxy circuit board. So we've gotten that one, And now we just need to make an advanced circuit board, but we're going to make 2 of them. So I'm going to pop that in. Oops. Put that away. 2 of those, 16 of those, and a short while later we will have our first actual advanced circuit board, which will be necessary as we move into the LUV circuits. But this will also unlock the that other quest. So there's that one. That unlocks the Nano CPU wafer, which is going to be some molten glowstone, a CPU circuit, 16 raw carbon fiber, and I need that in an EV chemical reactor, which I don't think I have. Have I made that one? I think I made... No, that guy's sitting right down here. So, I hadn't planned on making this thing, but apparently I need to make this thing as well. So that's kind of annoying. And yeah, it still has not unlocked that yet. Maybe going after these will as well, but if I have to go after this and it needs an EV chemical reactor, it looks like I'll be working on the components to make 2 more EV chips. I had just enough to make what my current plans were that did not include making this. So I'll probably run away. That means I'm going to need to grab a couple more of these guys so that I can make 2 more EV chips. And I'll be back here after a bit. I'm back, and I think I have everything ready for our next couple of steps. So, like I was saying, I wanted to create these guys to finish that quest. I need 2 emitters in order to do the circuit assembling machine and the precision laser engraver. And then I found out I also need the advanced chemical reactor. So, oops, there's one more thing I need to make. And that is a stainless steel rotor. There we go. That should be the last of what I need to make in order to accomplish all of these tasks. So I'm going to really quick just go ahead and put away these empty cells and go ahead and also put away this small thing there. All right. First up on the list, I made more than enough EV circuits to be able to go ahead and make our memory card. So that will be useful for working with the P2P devices. So I'm just going to stick that over here with those guys so that we can start thinking about using a controller soon. That'll be fantastic. Over here I have 2 emitters worth. And then down here I have 1 sensor worth. There we go. You're going to hate this, 5 and 6. So that quest knocked out, and then up here in the EV quest, finally have that one done. Next up is the EV circuits and the EV laser engraver. Oh, and that'll get us towards the quantum crystals if we want to make the quantum outfit, which eventually we will. I don't know how soon that will be, but I do know that will be coming up sooner rather than later. All right, so the next set of stuff. I have here the stuff necessary to make everything else I need for this setup. At least I think I do. Hopefully I do. There is all of our motors that we'll need for this one. Let's go ahead and use this guy just because 1, 2, 1, 2. I already have a ton of these aluminum cables from when I was doing stuff underneath my base, running power everywhere. The 1 EV power was more than enough at that point, but not anymore. So there we go. 2 EV conveyor belts. The next thing will be 1, 2, 3 of these guys. 1, 2, 3. I'm thinking I'm missing... I feel like I'm missing something there. 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 1, 2. So there's 2 pistons. I know I need a 3rd piston. Why did I make that many? Sorry, now it's got me all worried that I don't have something I should have. All right, 1, 2, 3 more of those. Oops. My mouse liking to go crazy on me. A little bit sensitive sometimes, other times not as much. So there's 3 of those, 2 of those. That'll make 1 more piston. I need a piston, 2 of those guys, 2 of these guys. Oh, it looks like I did, looks like I did 3 too many rods instead of what I needed. So anyway, 1, 2, 3, and 1, and there is the robot arm. Now the robot arm, one of the emitters, both of those guys, let's see, 2 chips, 2 of those, and 3 machine hulls. So the machine hulls are these, and my wrench, and then, can I do that with these still? That's an interesting question. Assembler can still use molten polyethylene. Good. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into there, and I'm going to need 6 of those. 6 and 3. And there are our hulls. So this guy moves over. One of these goes here. And now those 2 need to be IV chips. So there's 1, 2, and then 1, 2. And that should be our advanced circuit assembling machine. Excellent. All right, that guy's done. Next is the precision laser engraver. 2 pistons, 1 emitter, the hull, 3 of the EV chips, and those 2 things there. So 1 hull, 3 EV chips, 2 of those, the 2 pistons, and the other emitter. There's the advanced precision laser engraver. Excellent. And then the last one that we need is this guy right here. Stainless steel, electric motor, EV. Let's see here. You need those 2, and those 2. So that, those, and those. And there is our advanced chemical reactor. All right. So that got us everything to knock out these other quests in the EV line. So there we have it. That guy's done. Need to get this guy, which is what I needed that one, the chemical reactor for. Got the precision laser engraver. And then this one wants to go, quantum armor, 4 Lapotron crystals, turn them into quantum crystals. Oh, that's not too bad. They don't take circuits on that one either. Okay. And then those things will go into this gigantic mess with more LUV parts in order to make an actual quantum suit, which I am nowhere close to being ready to make yet. So what I do need to do is I need to move put this EV, chemical reactor rather, into my clean room. Fill it with 4 bits of molten glowstone, get some raw carbon fiber, a CPU, and I can make 1 nano CPU, and that will complete that part of the quest. And then of course I can take that, chop it up, and get the 8 for the remaining portion of this quest. So I'm going to go ahead and get that stuff set up, figure out where I'm going to put it in my clean room, and probably power it with one of these Lapotron crystals, just because otherwise it's going to be a pain. I should have one Lapotron. All right, it's in here, right? It was last time I saw it. What did I do with it? Well, it's around here somewhere. Oh, there it is. This one. So what I can do is I can go ahead and grab this guy out, plug this guy in. I'm going to go find a spot for it, and I'll bring you guys back in once we're ready to do that. Here we go. Time to get this thing up and running. Central CPU, 576 milliliters of, or millibuckets of molten glowstone, and that. Now, I don't have it hooked up to anything. It's literally just going to be drawing off of this poor battery, which means that I'll probably end up swapping it out with this one to let it charge once it's done, but it doesn't take too terribly long in order to make this nano CPU wafer, provided that my clean room stays at 100% efficiency. That's probably the biggest drawback to these clean rooms, is just you never know when it's going to have an issue, and I always worry that it'll happen right before craft finishes, and that 90% will roll in the 10% failure rate, and I'll lose whatever it was I was trying to make. So constantly checking that silly thing. Don't know why. Just a habit, I guess, because I really don't want to lose the cost of some of these more expensive components now that we're getting up into this EV, IV area. So here we go. There is our Nano CPU wafer. Let's go ahead and swap these guys out in case I have to make more, right? Okay, and then next we need to cut it, and that just takes an HV cutter in a clean room as well. So again, here's that. This thing has plenty of power, so we'll just stick it in there and cut it up with the EV cutter instead of just the HV one, which is over by the rest of my stuff. I was using it to cut up a bunch of wood in order to make storage drawers and whatnot, so it's sitting over there as opposed to sitting in here. But that's all right. With this battery here and this battery buffer here, it tends to run fairly well. So that should do it. Nano CPU wafer and chip. And of course, they're going to first want me to make one of these, but then they're going to end up making me make one LUV chip by the looks of things. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get stuff ready to make that a thing. Be back in a bit. Alright, I really quick threw together the parts and stuff necessary in order to start creating the stuff I would need. Accidentally pulled this guy out before I started recording. And then went and took a look at the quest itself. It does indeed unlock and keep on going. I'm guessing there's going to be one more that'll be right here, which will be the actual first LUV circuit that we make. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to get this stuff here together, and then I'm going to guess that I'm also going to be required to get this little bit of stuff together, to include NOR memory chips. I don't think I create those yet. That needs an HV cutting machine, which is fine, and requires an ender eye or an ender pearl, I'm guessing. Ender eye. Oh, okay. Just ender eye. So, do I have one of those already? I doubt it. Alright, so I guess I'm going to be making an ender eye circuit so that I can create the NOR chips. That shouldn't be too hard. I say that shouldn't be with air quotes because you know how it goes. We take a look at, there's an ender pearl, so I'm going to guess it's going to take 9 of these guys in a compressor to make a block of ender eye. Then I'm going to have to go through a cutting machine, which isn't terribly difficult, to get the plate. And then does the plate just needs an MV lathe. I'd really rather not have to get an MV lathe, but it looks like I don't have much of an option anymore. This guy will not cut it. So, I do have 2 MV chips right here, so it looks like I'm going to be creating an MV lathe. In the meantime, I do also have, I was making the rest of the plates that I would need, or not plates, sorry, the rest of the advanced circuit boards right there with the Epoxid. I was making the rest of those to make the rest of these chips. It takes 14 of those in total, and that is what this Electrum is for. So I'm going to break away. I'm going to go see about creating an MV lathe that I can probably plug in. I'll find a spot for it. It may end up going like on the back side here. Yeah, it could probably go on the back side. Slap it onto the back side there, and we'll make use of that as well as making this, compressing these ender eyes down and getting ready to make an ender eye lens. So we'll be back in a bit. There we go. That didn't take too long. One advanced lathe. Already made up the ender eye plates. So let's go ahead and slap this guy in and wait for that to finish. There we we go. Hooked up. Should have power, and drop one of those guys in. I went and looked at the recipes for the lathe, and with there wasn't a whole lot that I am terribly worried about needing anything higher than an MV lathe. Later on I may make one just so that it's faster, but in terms of what I need right now, this lathe is more than sufficient. There is a large processing factory that can be set up as a lathe, so if I really needed to, later on I can use a GT++ machine, multi-block, and have one even faster. So this will probably be the last single block lathe that I make, hopefully for this game. We'll see. You never know, because stuff may not show up in the list of recipes based on whether or not it needs like the tech research done on it first before the recipe even shows up. So it's possible that I do need a heavier lathe, but at least right now this is the best that I need. So there is my Ender Eye lens. I really have no need for a small pile of Ender Eye dust. So let's go ahead and take this guy all the way over here. And at this point, I probably will need to use my precision laser engraver. And why did I put that there? Because now I can't get into my chest. That's, you know, smart. There we go. Precision laser engraver. We'll slap it up there. It doesn't need any inputs, so it's fine to just go up there like that. There's the Ender Eye lens, and let's grab one of these glowstone wafers and pop it in there, and then I'm going to need to swipe a battery. Eventually, I will get this thing hooked up and set up so that it's running EV power, but at least for the time being, 1 amp of HV coming in on one side, 1 amp of MV coming in on another side. It seems to do reasonably well enough. Yeah. So here we go. Just trying to get this stuff done. I would really be frustrated if... well, I'd be really frustrated right now if that thing didn't want me to make that right away. But as long as I don't cut it, I should be good. Let's see. The next quest has me gathering up a few more parts, so I'm going to go gather those up. I'm going to knock out getting this guy made, and then we'll bring you back in here before we get started with the next upgrade. See you in a bit. I remembered to start recording this time. And there is our nano processor assembly. There we go. Now with that one done, yep, look at that right there, nano processor mainframe. So, nano processor assembly wants me to make 2 of those, and then I'm going to need 8 diodes, the NOR memory chip, so it's not going to have me actually have to craft that, and I believe that is because back here on the HV tab, right back here, it has a quest already for those. So I should be able to just drop this guy into there and let it cut that up. And I forget how many that gives. Hopefully that gives at least 8 so that I can do that with the rest of the stuff. But let's go ahead and craft up the rest of those guys. Double checking my efficiency, 100% still. So that's good. 16 of them. Excellent. Okay. Because I'm going to need half of that in order to make 2 of these guys into the next step, which is this Elite Nano processor. So I've got those 4 there. I'm going to go ahead and go get 32 of the random access memory. That's these guys and one of these. So let's plop that in. Oh, and I need a battery. Give me a battery. There's a battery. And that'll let that finish. There's 2 of those. And then let's go ahead and grab those because I'm going to need it to knock out that part. And so yeah, I'm going to go grab 16 diodes. I'm about to make the 32 random access memory, and then I just need a little bit more electrum. Excellent. Let's take that battery back, move it over here. Yeah, this is going to be one of the first things I end up upgrading. And let's get some electrum. Let's see here. I need 32. 32 is going to be 4 electrum, so 2 gold, 2 silver. 2 gold, 2 silver. There we go. And then I also needed diodes, didn't I? Diodes. I need 16 of them. Okay, good. I just barely have 16 of them. There's those 4. Let's go ahead and convert those into the fine wires. And then the last thing is going to end up making one of these. So I'm going to need to get a bit more stuff before I can make those. Yeah, another 16 random access memory, some annealed copper wire. Okay. So I'll have to take a break, gather up those components, because that might take me a bit longer. And then we'll be ready to make this first LUV machine part. There we go, 4 of them. Alright, still at 100% efficiency. So we have 2 of those, 4 of those. Let me just double check. I don't have the RAM yet. Cutter. There we go. Take this guy out. I'm going to go ahead and make one more thing of... Wait, do I need one more thing of RAM? I don't think I do. Do I? Let's see. That one. Quarter of those. That and that. And I'm out of... I'm out of soldering fluid. Alright, let's just double check. 16... No, I need 32 for that. Right. So, that means those have to go in there. And that wants 4, so I do need all 8 of those. 16 of those, 32 of those. Okay, so that's all of that. I just need the soldering alloy, and I'm going to go get the soldering alloy I'll need for the rest of that as well. Put this guy in. Pop that guy in. Alright, let's see if we can knock this out quickly here. I need to turn that off and that off, although I don't think it can push the fluids, just to be safe. There we go. Oh, Herobrine was there suddenly. Soldering. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Because this guy needs 2 each. Oh, it only needs 1 each. Okay. So 1, 2, and then this guy needs 2. Okay. So 1, 2, and then 3, 4. Let's go ahead and melt that down. Take that. I am going to need coils. Right, 16 coils. I'm going to need 32 capacitors and 32. So I'm going to need 16 annealed copper and some capacitors. Looks like I have enough capacitors. And then I need, what did I say? 32 annealed copper? 16 of that. Okay. So, let's come over here then. Get the copper going. Almost there. It looks like I have enough here to do that. There's that. There we go, 4 of that. Still at 100%, good. 32 of that. Alright, the only other thing I think I need then is just the aluminum frames, and then to take the annealed copper and put them into, and turn it into that other stuff. Alright, let's go do that. There's that. Elite Nano computer. This needs to go in there. And then lastly, I need four aluminum. Convert those into rods. Two aluminum frames, 32 annealed copper cables, and I think this will do it. And of course I get pinged while I'm trying to record. So there's those. That completed that, and the last one, so it's still not unlocked yet. So let's go ahead. We've got all of those materials now. Let's make this last one. Two of those, 16, 32, 16, and 32. And there it goes. 100% stability. How long does this take? 80 seconds. Alright, so give me a minute. It has been very enjoyable, maybe, kind of, sort of. It's been kind of frustrating, kind of enjoyable, trying to get all the way through this stuff. The most difficult part of it is just getting those multi-blocks set up so that I can half automate this stuff. Yeah, it's definitely been worthwhile to do the automation versus just having it sit there. Phew, that thing is draining quick. I think it's got more than enough. This thing only needs 3 million. Yeah, it's got more than enough. But yeah, getting all of those multi-blocks set up and automated to try and break down all of that oil into the various constituent components has been quite the setup. It was kind of frustrating trying to get some of the outputs to come out to the right output hatch, but otherwise was a good run. Here we go. There's our first LUV circuit. And if we take a look, we still don't have it unlocked. Interesting. I wonder what it thinks it's missing. Alright, well, I am probably going to have to go around, like, make the thorium fuel rods. I may have to do the platinum processing in order to unlock this tab. So, yeah, I'll let you guys know once I do unlock it, and we'll see you back here. Well, let's just say that in the next video I'll have it unlocked, and we'll see you in IV. Till then.